Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. It's time for another episode. Quick kitchen again this week, so a delicious recipe. It's quick, it's fast, it feeds 4 people for under a £5. I love this recipe. It is really good, tasty, easy to cook, all on one tray, and we are ready to go. Now it all starts with a chicken. Okay, so what I thought I would do is actually show you how to butcher the chicken. Take the joints off the carcass because we can use the carcass on another episode. So I'm going to squirrel that away. We'll make a delicious pumpkin and chicken risotto. It'll be absolutely amazing, I promise you. If you haven't already seen that recipe, look in our archive, go to our YouTube channel, download our app, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen, and you will find it there. So, first things first, let's get this chicken jointed up. Do you know how to joint a chicken, Emily?
I don't actually.
Do you not? It's quite easy once you know your way around and what you're doing. So I bought this chicken. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take the legs off first. So first thing we need to do, you've got the leg here and the thigh and the breast, and then just cut a cut there. Just all you're doing is cutting the skin. That's it. And the same on the other one. Now turn it over. Put your thumbs there. Can we see that all right, Emily?
Yeah.
And then just squeeze them in, all right? And that just releases the bone, and then we just cut around until it releases the leg and the thigh, and do exactly the same again. Okay. There we go, there's those two. Now all we need to do is take the breasts off and the wings. I'm actually going to leave the wings on because I want those for my risotto recipe. So just run your knife down the middle and it will naturally go one side of the breastbone or the other. Don't know which side it'll go. Okay, so it's to my left there. So all you need to do is just cut and then use the tip of your knife and then just cut. And what I'm doing is I'm pressing against the bone. Okay, so the meat's here on the right, my right, and the bone's on the left. So I'm pressing against the bone all the time. Just lots of little cuts, and just keep pulling the chicken breast away from the bone as you do it, okay? And it'll eventually just go flat, and then all you need to do, you'll see the join there for the wing bone. That's it, straight through and we're done. Now, this one is the harder one of the two because it's not quite as balanced, but just run your knife, the meat side of the breastbone, and then tip of your knife, cut away from yourself to get that side done, and then little cuts and just pull it away. And this is a real kitchen skill because you can apply this. It's so much cheaper and more efficient to buy a whole chicken and butcher it yourself, okay? Because it means you get the wings, you get the breasts, you get the legs, the thighs, the carcass, the lot. And it's really important to be able to do that. And if you're going to buy a good, decent chicken, make it last, okay? So there's our carcass, and there's our 2 chicken breasts with the wings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a container. So I use my Masterclass stainless steel containers for all sorts of stuff. And for putting some chicken bones in and everything, it's perfect. So all I'm going to do is just chop it in half and then pop it in that container. And then I've got my wings that are still attached to the breast there. Fold them over like that and then just cut away from yourself. And then you end up with the wing there. All right? Cut through and pop it into your container. Same again on that one. So that can go in the freezer for another day, or you could cook it down into your stock tomorrow for a different recipe. Okay? So let's just put that to one side for now until we've finished here. So I've got the 2 breasts here, and then I've got leg and thigh. This is more than enough to feed 4 people in my opinion, easily. So I'm just going to cut in between the bones. There we go. So I've got leg and I've got thigh. So just use your finger and feel for that joint. Okay. You might notice Emily and Carlos are very quiet today because they're actually busy eating a recipe that we've just photographed. So we're not getting a lot of questions. So if you do have any at all, please post them in the comments below. I will answer them for you. They will continue to eat. All right? Is that all right? Yeah. I don't want to interrupt you. Busted. Right. So 2 drumsticks. Okay. 2 thighs, and then the breasts. Yeah. So we're going to cut the breast in half. Now, what you'll find is it's much thicker at this end. This side's quite thin. So when you cut it in half, you kind of want to think about that. All right. So what I tend to do is if I'm feeding 4 people, I cut it long ways. Then there's no arguments, is there? Okay.
Do you leave this? I know obviously you can get like chicken.
Oh, you finished eating. Oh, welcome back.
You can get like obviously people buy like skinless chicken breasts and things like that. Does it make a difference in cooking the meat if you leave the skin on?
When you're cooking joints of chicken breast will cook a lot quicker than chicken thighs and legs if you just chuck them all in the oven at the moment. So, and I would always say, please don't buy chicken thighs and the bone and skin removed because you're going to pay a fortune for them. Just do what I'm going to do. So you've taken them off the bone. Now, if I was to put all this on a tray in the oven now, the chicken breast would cook far quicker than these. Now, the way to avoid that is to cut into the chicken down to the bone, all right? I'm actually going to take the skin off because I want to get maximum flavour in. It's a bit healthier if you do it that way. So we can just take the skin off really quick. It's dead easy to do. We can actually put it in our pan for our chicken stock. And we can add that in. You have to be careful because you will obviously get some fat come to the surface when you make your stock. But that's okay, we can deal with that. So just peel the skin away. Take it off. That's it. How's the pie?
It's good.
I made the most amazing garlic chicken Kiev pie. And the guys have photographed it. We filmed it and everything. If you want the recipe, go to my website and you'll find it there. It's got Emily and Carlos's endorsement. Right, so we've got breast over here. So first thing you want to do now is take these are the legs, the drumsticks, cut until you hit the bone. 1, 2, 3. Turn it over and do the same on that side. And that means the heat will penetrate much quicker and they will cook then at a similar time to the chicken breast. And you don't end up with one being overcooked and one being cooked. Same with the thigh. 3 cuts until it hits the bone. Okay, right. So what we're going to do is just pop them onto a tray and then I'm going to wash this chopping board, my hands, and get everything clean of raw chicken. Okay, right. Chicken is all prepped up, okay? What we're going to do now is season it up with salt, pepper, and the most delicious blend of curry spices. Now, if you want my recipe, go to masterclass.co, scan the QR code. It will take you to all the recipes there, and I have the most delicious spice blend that I use for so many different dishes. Get it there, make it up, and you can do this. But if you haven't got the spices, take some garam masala or some tikka spice, something like that, and just season it up. Okay? A couple of teaspoons there. I'm going to add some olive oil.
How long does that tikka powder last?
It lasts quite a while, but I mean, you have to be careful your spices aren't really old, because you know what it's like sometimes. Spices find their way to the back of the kitchen cupboard and they stay there, and before you know it, it's a couple of years on. So just you want fresh spices. But if you make that blend there, you know, you make that much, it's going to last 2 or 3 months easy. Stir it through a bit of yogurt for an amazing dip. Use it in curries, use it on barbecues. You know, you could add it to some pumpkin or some sweet potato. You know, jacket potato, sweet potato baked, cut open, sprinkled with a little bit of this and some yogurt. Yeah. Nice. Right, so we'll season up with a little bit of salt and some pepper, and then I'm just going to get this massaged up, get all the spices going all over the chicken, all right? Get everything working. The more you get those flavours right into those cuts, the more full of flavour the chicken will be. Okay, right. Just wash my hands. Okay, right. Okay, so I said it was one tray. So I've got my masterclass. These are vertical stack pans actually in trays. They're really useful because when you put them in the kitchen cupboard, they're not always at the back and the bottom because they stack vertically. Little things in life, you see. Right. So the chicken's there. All I'm going to do is give this 10 minutes in a hot oven. Okay, we're at 180 degrees. I've got the top element on my oven. Okay, so it's going to get all the heat from the top and the fan as well. So we're going to give it a 10-minute head start. While that's going on, let's get on with our flavours. Now, as I said before, if you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. I will answer them as best I can. That's the whole point of this show. It means that you can actually ask questions and get an answer from me, okay? So if you don't get an answer, give me a nudge on Facebook and I'll make sure I do. I'm pretty good with them. I do answer most of them, don't I? So, red onions. We're going to go with those.
Can you use white?
You can. I would cut them smaller. You've got to be careful with white onions. They're quite strong. So I've gone for red this time. There isn't a lot of difference in cost, but it looks nicer and it's milder. I just prefer using red on this dish. And then we're going to go with sweet potatoes as well. Work really well. They actually cook a little bit quicker than normal potatoes, but if you've only got normal, that's absolutely fine. It'll work just the same. Okay, so not long now till BBC Good Food Show. Any of you coming down to Birmingham, I'll be down there with Masterclass for the whole duration of the show. We'll be cooking up loads of stuff, so if you are planning on coming down to BBC Good Food Show, pop over and say hello. We might be cooking up a few little bits. And also, if you want to enter a competition to win a pair of tickets, please like, comment and share this video. It'll enter you into competition. Masterclass have let me give away some tickets, so make sure you do that. Get in the competition. So I've cut the red onion. You might have noticed I've actually kept the core on there. I don't want them to fall apart. So when you peel an onion, it's really important to keep that core there. And then I've just cut them into thirds. There we go. We'll put those to one side. They're ready. And then I've got my sweet potatoes. So I'm going to leave the skins on, but I tend to just nick the end off. All right. The skin's full of fibre. Don't want to lose out on that. Okay, so just nick the ends off there. And then I'm going to cut straight down the middle. You don't want to cut the sweet potatoes too small, but also not too big. It's really about making sure that everything kind of cooks at the same time. So that chicken will take 40 minutes to cook. So we've given it a 10-minute head start before we introduce the vegetables. So they want to be sort of baking in half an hour. So for me, that's about the right size. You know, I want them to be sort of sweet and succulent, but also crispy as well. So it's okay to cut them into sort of different shapes and sizes, I think. But they do need to be cooked. They always cook a little bit quicker, don't they, sweet potatoes, than you think they're going to cook.
I'm assuming like a normal white potato wouldn't be something that you'd use for this, is it?
Yeah, it would just take longer, I think.
Right.
You know, I think you would need to get the potatoes in at the same time. Right, potatoes, red onions, let's get those into there.
Is there any other veg that you could use if you're like maybe if you've got some veg left over in the
you
fridge?
could use, I mean, you could chuck pepper. I don't think there isn't anything you couldn't use. You could use aubergines, courgettes, peppers, chuck some tomato. You know, if you found some sort of almost wrinkly tomatoes in the fridge and you think, what am I going to do with them? Chuck them in. They're not going to do it any harm. You could chuck butternut squash in there, pumpkin, normal potatoes, carrots, parsnips. Carrots and parsnips actually work really well with those kind of spices.
So it's good to it's a good one to get rid of the veg at the bottom of the
fridge clearer.
Yes.
We like a fridge clearer, don't we, Emily?
Yep.
We do. Right, okay, so I've got my sweet potatoes. Now, garlic, I'm a big garlic fan. Take it or leave it, it's up to you. I'm going to put 3 cloves in, and I'm going to add some chilli in there as well. I'm just going to get my big knife. So what I'm going to do is just take the top off of the chilli and then just slice it. And I've done it like this because if you want to avoid the pieces of chilli, you can, because I've left them fairly big. But if you chop them up really fine, it means everything's going to get coated on there. And then with the garlic, I'm just crushing it. And they're just really to sort of perfume the dish and give it that lovely sense of flavour rather than full on heat. And then I've got 2 limes. Cut the lime in half. We're actually going to squeeze the juice out into there, and it'll give us some beautiful acidity. Right, let's have a look at the chicken. This kind of dish I think you'd make, Emily?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
It's good for like a midweek meal. It's just not going to take too long. It's all in one tray.
One tray. You know, 1 pan, 1 tray. That's what you want. Right, so the chicken's had a bit of a head start, which is good. So let's pour the sweet potatoes and the onions in. Give them a little shake so they all get down to the same level.
Bring it onto the chopping board for me a bit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm going to slot the limes in there, put the garlic in, and get my chilli, and then just sprinkle that on. Now we want a little bit of oil on the vegetables. Okay. Right, and then let's season up, because we haven't seasoned the vegetables, and you want that salt to kind of draw out the moisture and let it all caramelise beautifully. A little bit of pepper there, and that's it. It's like cooking's nearly done. The only thing we need to add to this is some lovely mango chutney 5 minutes before it's finished cooking, and that'll give it a really lovely sweetness. We'll squeeze the limes out, and then you have got the perfect Indian spice glazed 1 pan wonder. Right, my chicken has been in the oven now. What did we say, Emily? 40 minutes in total?
Yeah.
So yeah, the chicken had 10 minutes first. Then we got all the veggies in that had half an hour. So the theory is everything should be lovely and cooked. Look at that. We've got all those lovely juices there. The chicken is cooked and my potatoes are tender and lovely. There's one last process to add. A mango chutney. Nice bit of sweetness. It's kind of just going to wrap itself around everything and make it sweet and fruity and tangy, because we're going to add the juice of the limes that have cooked in there all over it. So what I like to do is just put a bit of that mango chutney on the chicken pieces. You can put as much or as little as you like on them, really.
I end up putting a whole jar on.
I know. Well, it works. It works really, really well. Get a little bit on those onions. Just, you know, everyday kind of supermarket mango chutney. That's all it needs. Okay, and then we're going to take our limes and we're going to squeeze all that over there. So there's one. All the pulp, everything. Because it's the balance of lime versus mango chutney. Okay, in that goes. Last one. I actually don't think this needs to go back under the grill. I think it's going to be just fine as it is. So all I'm going to do is just stir that together. Just turn things over gently. You don't want things to break. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some fresh mint. So it's going to be really nice and vibrant and fresh. Just sort of balances everything out now. And we're going to sprinkle that on the top. And you have got the most delicious mango chutney spiced tray bake with sweet potato, red onions, all glazed up in mango. It's going to taste absolutely amazing. Now, if you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom. It will take you to masterclass.co. You can get the recipe there along with all the information about Masterclass, who I work with. They are my sponsors who help me make this program every week. And all the equipment I use in my kitchen is with Masterclass, so we know it is spot on, and the equipment does the job that it says it's going to do, and that is when cooking is easy. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you on the next episode.